Alright, so after my last video on appendix carry, I don't know why, but a whole bunch of videos have popped up in my feed, and people talk about carrying modern firearms versus carrying non-modern firearms, what's best, and all that. Here's the deal. It doesn't matter what you carry if you don't practice with it, if you don't train with it, if you don't know how to use it. 17 rounds out of a Glock is not going to do you any better than 5 rounds out of a snub nose if you can't hit nothing with it. I carry my little J-frame revolver because it doesn't print. It doesn't, I can't, for my job, you know, it doesn't print. For my job and the things that I do, I can't open carry. I can't. Technically, I can't have it printing, showing, or anything else. I practice with this gun. I trust this gun. I've tried carrying SIGs. I've tried carrying Springfield XDs. Tried carrying a lot of stuff. Why do I keep going back to this J-frame revolver? Because it's what I'm comfortable with. It's what I've carried for years and years and years and years. When I was a teenager, even up into almost my mid-20s, I used to go hunting out in Chelsea, Michigan every year. I used to go pheasant hunting, rabbit hunting, and I hunted the same areas out there in Waterloo Township. And at least 60% of the time, I'd run into this old guy out there. And I'd have my double barrels because that's just what I like, what I hunted with, what I was comfortable with. And this old man had this old single shot shotgun. It was Damascus barrels. I think he said he was 70 when I first started hunting with him. So he was in his late 70s before I stopped seeing him. And I asked him, why do you hunt with a single shot? Why not a pump or a double barrel or, a semi-auto? And he said he got that shotgun when he was 10, 12 years old. And he had hunted with that shotgun. That's all he could afford. He hunted with that shotgun for his entire life. And he said, with one shot, you make that one shot count. And I had a double barrel. And that old man always got more pheasants than I did. He got more rabbits than I did. Because he had been hunting with that gun for 50, 60 years. He knew that gun. He knew how that gun shot. It was just natural to him. And that's what I'm getting at with this is, if you like Glocks, carry a Glock. If you like revolvers, carry a revolver. It doesn't matter what you carry. Just make sure you practice with it. Make sure that you can use it. I took a bunch of tactical training classes back during COVID. And I was fortunate enough to take these classes with a veteran. He was I believe, an Army Ranger. Had lots of experience. And instead of us walking around and shooting targets, and we did do that, he would make us run around our cars or do jumping jacks. He'd get your blood rate up, get you breathing hard, and then he'd want you shooting targets while you were walking or even running. And he said that it would never be equal to the stress that you're going to be under fire. He said, unless you've been in that kind of stress, unless you've been shot at, you'll never understand it. He said, everybody acts differently or reacts differently. He said, but if you're going to practice putting yourself under as much adrenaline and stuff like that as you can so that you're more prepared for it. Every week, I try to fire minimum 2 cylinders through this. Normally I fire 40, 50 rounds through this every week. I practice pulling up, shoot the target. You know, I might fire one shot target, might fire three. I trust this gun. I've been carrying this one for probably 10 years or better. It's never ever failed to fire. I'm just comfortable with it. I practice with it. I reload my own ammo. There's a bunch of channels. Galactic Force Media pops to mind. Tuco the Rat got a brand new 38 single action, was doing triple shots with it. Had a factory load squib, and he launched, I think, one or two more shells down the, or bullets down the barrel behind it. And luckily it didn't completely destroy the gun or nothing. Galactic Force Media blew his gun up, and there's been a bunch of others. So for me, I'm not practicing rapid fire and all that because I want to practice. But since COVID, there's been shit ammo. I did a video on Fit Special, and I had one that I was shooting it. Nothing happened. Gun didn't go off. Waited a minute, opened up the cylinder. The primer was struck. There was a dent in the primer. Closed the cylinder, rolled it back around, fired it again. That thing did not fire. Just a personal thing with me. I'm just an average shooter. I'm nothing special. I had a semi-automatic. I was in a life and death situation. That happened. I'd have to stop, rack the slide. At least with the revolver, I could just pull the trigger again. When you look at Kyle Rittenhouse, no matter what you think, whether he was guilty or not, when you look at Elijah Dickens, when you look at Jack, I can't remember his last name, different self-defense situations, every one of them I watched, it was less than 5 shots to get out of the situation. So I'm comfortable with a 5-shot J-frame. You know, I work in Detroit. I live or work in Flint. I work in some of the worst areas you can work at. Now, granted, I'm out there during the day. That's totally different than the person that lives there. That's totally different than the person that works the night shift or whatever out there. I'm at the lowest risk possible during the time frame that I'm in there. And I don't hang out there when I don't need to be there because I'm not going to put myself in a situation. Them people may feel that they need more than 5 shots. I've seen T Electric do videos where he talked about groups of 10 guys breaking into houses and doing things to women and killing people and all that. I don't live there. I don't see that. I don't run into them situations. Hundreds of self-defense videos I've seen. When the bullets start flying, everybody's running in the other way and ducking for cover and everything else. A lot of the videos, the first shot hits the guy's running out, bleeding all over and that, and the guy's running behind him, launching shells. Well, every bullet you fire out of that gun, even in self-defense, if you hit somebody's kid, you hit some other person, even if you just wing them, hit them in the arm or the leg or the shoulder or whatever, in the state doesn't press charges against you because they say it was self-defense, it was accidental, whatever. I can just about guarantee you that the person you shot, if they live, is going to sue you. The family's going to sue you if that person dies for wrongful death or whatever. That's why I don't carry 10 millimeter. I don't carry a lot of them. For one thing, I don't reload for them. I carry 357 Magnum, but I load my own ammo because I don't trust factory ammo anymore. And I load my rounds down so that hopefully they don't over penetrate. I got to worry about if I dump 5 shots, you know, bullets ricochet off of stuff, this and that. I don't want to worry about 17 rounds or 10 rounds or anything else. And like I said, I knock Glocks, and the only reason I knock Glocks in my videos is because I get so sick of these, not people that like Glock, the Glock fanboys, that if it's not a Glock, it's not a gun, and this and that, and there's a guy that does a lot of bear defense videos with 10 millimeters. I've watched videos, I think he's blown up 2 or 3 10 millimeter Glocks. Yet it's the best gun in the world. The 10 millimeter Glock is the best bear defense, this and that. Fine, do your thing. I'm not, if I was concealed carrying or carrying in Alaska or Canada where there was bears and that, yeah, I'd want something more than a 357 Magnum. It wouldn't be a 10 millimeter. I'd want 454 Casull, 500 Smith and Wesson Magnum, something like that. I'd want as much power as I could get out of a handgun because that's a big, dangerous threat. There's a reason why, like in Africa, they have a minimum caliber for dangerous game for lion, elephant, Cape buffalo, leopard, rhino. They have minimum calibers because you want to put the threat down as fast as possible. But when your threat is in a city with lots of other people running around, I don't necessarily think that having this super hot magnum load is the best thing to carry. I just don't. A lot of your self defense ammo now is loaded down not to over penetrate. That's what I carry. I try to load it down enough to where it'll stop somebody, but hopefully it's not going to go through two or three more people as it goes through them. I'm a thorough believer in if you want to carry a Glock, carry a Glock. It's more important that you practice with it and know how to use it, and it becomes second nature than what you carry. Wild Bill Hickok was carrying two 1851 Colt Navies long into when everybody else was going to cartridges. So the modern state of the art thing, uh, he didn't apply to it. It worked for him. You know, they were converting navies and armies to cartridges at least probably 5, 6 years before Wild Bill Hickok died. He carried his cap and ball revolvers because they were tested, proven, and he trusted them. And trust in your weapon is going to be way more important than what weapon you have. Trust in your weapon means that it's been tried, it's been true. You've shot hundreds and hundreds of rounds through it, and it's always worked. It always functions. To me, that's more important than what caliber you're carrying. Just me. I have some family that were cops years ago when I was younger, and when they switched from the 357 Magnum to revolver to the Beretta 92s, that's what their police forces switched to. They didn't want them. They didn't want them. They wanted to keep their revolvers. Why? Because they had carried revolvers for years and years and years, and they trusted them. I just think trust in your weapon is far more important. Trust and training are far more important than what weapon you carry. People make fun of me all the time because I carry a little J frame revolver. People make fun of me because I carry appendix style. I've been carrying appendix style for the better part of 20 years. It's a carry method that's tested and proven. It works for me. My little J frame, tested. It works for me. I got some flack on my Fit Special. Take your Glock out. I wouldn't do it, but try and shoot your Glock with gloves on, with big winter gloves on if you're in a cold area like Michigan or Alaska or you live in Canada. You got big heavy gloves on. Try and get your finger in that trigger guard of that Glock. For one thing, the safety's built in the trigger guard. I think there's a potential for an accidental discharge. This right here, with big heavy gloves on that I have to wear sometimes when it's negative 20 below, I cannot get my finger in this trigger guard safely without accidentally possibly squeezing this trigger. That's when it's real cold days like that and I have to wear them gloves. Them are the days I keep that fits in my pocket I showed in the video. Even with the biggest gloves I have on, I can still safely grab that gun and hold it without worrying about accidentally pushing the trigger trying to force a gloved hand into a trigger guard. I'm not knocking when I got buddies that carry Glocks, I got buddies that carry Springfield XDs, I got buddies that carry revolvers. And I always tell people, try and find somebody that has a bunch of different guns. Find what you're comfortable with, what you like. Years ago, I used to give people crap about carrying a 380. I was into this more power, we need as much power as we can get mentality. Um, and that's probably one of the times that I was carrying a semi auto and I was just in this got to have modern state of the art. Well, a bullet leaving any barrel nowadays with the development in powders and bullet technology and everything else, a 380 at 10 feet, 10, 20 feet, 25 feet, 7 yards, 10 yards is going to be pretty effective. Just about every caliber out there now is pretty effective. I would never carry a 22. I don't think that them are the best choice, but there's people that carry them, and if they're confident and they can hit what they're aiming at, and more power to them. 22 is better than a stick or a rock. So anyway, this video is starting to get kind of long. Nobody ever watches past 5 minutes, so I'm just saying, don't worry about what other people are trying to sell you or tell you. You carry what you're comfortable with, train with it, practice with it, and that's my recommendation. Like I said, if I lived in a state where I could open carry, I'd carry around one of my Colts all day long, one of my single action Army clones. I shoot them more than anything else. I would be 100% comfortable with them. But here in California 2.0, as I call it, here in Michigan, um, lots and lots of places, if you try open carrying, and even though Michigan's an open carry state, you try going into a lot of stores and that, they'll refuse service. They'll even call the cops, have you trespass, because Michigan's becoming California 2.0. They don't want people walking around with guns in their stores and that. Another reason why I carry this little J-frame, it does exactly what I need it to do. Easily concealable, easy to hide. But, and like I said, you guys have seen my videos. I've got ARs, I've got AKs, I've got an Uzi, I've got 1911s, I've got Berettas. I like revolvers. That's why I carry revolvers. I've shot more revolvers than anything else. Yes, I could probably train myself to carry a semi-auto and one of the small subcompact or compact or whatever and be efficient with it. I don't want to. I like what I carry. I'm comfortable with what I carry. I've been carrying little J-frame snub nose revolvers for the better part of 20 years. Always seems to work for me. I don't see no reason to change now. But everybody has their own opinions. Everybody seems to want to try and force their opinion on somebody else. I'm not trying to force my opinion. I'm trying to tell you J-frame might not be the best solution for you. The best solution is what you have, what you're comfortable with, what you can shoot with, and train. Shoot it. Shoot it as much as you possibly can. The more you shoot it, the more you carry it, the more it's going to become natural, second nature. You're not going to have to think about it. And that's more important than having the cool guy gun and pretending to be John Wick and thinking that every time you turn a corner, there's 13 people trying to assassinate you. Just my opinions. What the hell do I know? I'm an old man. Hope everybody has a great day. See you on the flip side.